intros. We'll get started. We'll do the intros and all the rest of it. I'll
Yeah,
pull this.
so I'll bring us live here. There we go. It's starting like always in red, but oh well, it'll get over it.
And I will. I'll go to my to the YouTube site so I can get to the comments.
And so there we are. We're live now, and nobody here yet, but I think they all should know that face by now. They know my face, and they know who they're seeing. That's right. They're seeing the global man. Okay. My buddy over here, we don't get to do stuff very often together because he's got his life and he's busy. And I get busy doing my own things over here. But but I did want to bring that up. We were talking here just before I come up live. So when everybody's done or somebody shows up in here, that'll be fine. But other than that, it'll be recorded anyhow. So recently, I've had more trouble with my wife's mother. And so there was a wedding. The uncle is getting married, right? And here a couple months ago, we were down at the bar sitting there when the uncle and his soon to be wife came in. And they were jabbing with us and blah, blah, blah. And they wanted me and her to show them up to the wedding, right? Okay, that's fine. Well, the mother interjected, put herself in the middle of it, and she's decided that the aunt turned around, the soon to be aunt turned around and says, well, I'm not welcome at the wedding.
You're not welcome.
I'm not welcome to be at the wedding because the mother's interjected herself and all this other stuff, and I'm the villain again, right? So I was, okay, so now they wanted me to run Heather down to another town to drop her off for the wedding I'm no longer allowed at, and then run back to pick her up. And I says, no, you're not getting rewarded. Why would I give you my time and my gas when you're attacking me to bring her there? If you want her at the wedding, you will pick her ass up and bring her to the wedding and drop her off back at home. Or she won't be there because you're not getting rewarded with my time and gas for attacking me.
I'm sure that went down really well.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
well, I did post a video on Facebook today addressing that issue. I do expect I'll probably have a call from the sheriff's department again, you know. But what are you going to do, I mean, if they think I'm going to lay down and bend over and just take the abuse because I'm a guy and they can attack me over and over because they're females, and if I speak up and say anything at all, that I'm the perpetrator when they're actually the perpetrator. No, 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 no. You think I'm scared of that? First off, I don't go nowhere near them, nowhere around them. I never threaten no harm in any way at them. So what are they going to get me for? Standing up for myself? See this? See this? I'll always stand up for myself.
Oh, standing up for yourself is the new rape. Didn't you know?
Oh,
That's
yeah, I
that's
know.
that's rape.
Yeah. And so what is it when the female attacks you? Would that be misogyny or man?
Oh, that's entertainment. That's
Oh,
funny.
that's entertainment. That's funny. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. When the female attacks a man, that's funny. Like when a woman kicks a man in the testicles, that's funny. That's or when a
Yeah,
woman slaps a man, that's funny. That's hysterical. That's
that's hilarious,
entertainment.
right? And if a woman cuts off a guy's penis, that's funny
Oh,
too,
that's
isn't it? Oh,
that's that's really hysterical. The whole audience of women are going to laugh if a woman drugs her husband and cuts off his penis while he's unconscious. Well, that's the whole audience of women is going to laugh at that. That's hysterical.
right. But now if a guy drugged his wife and took a fillet knife and cut out her, you know what? When would that be funny and hysterical, or would that be
I
that'd be a crime, wouldn't it?
I rather think that one would be a crime. Yeah, I'd rather think that one would be a crime. I
Huh.
mean, I just will go over the story I was telling you before we went live because as Bill said, his mother-in-law was hassling him, and he put a post on Facebook, and she calls the sheriff's department for a post on Facebook. Right?
Yes.
That's the story. And I was saying to Bill just before we went live that today a woman can reasonably expect that if she calls the police because of a post on Facebook, or calls the police because of, a comment on Twitter or something else like that, she can reasonably expect the police to come along and hassle the man. That's normal. That's normal now,
Yeah,
right?
it's just 'cause, what happens is the law becomes complicit with the perpetrator and tries to tell the victim how wrong they are for standing up for themselves. And when she done that, and the sheriff's department called me, put the guy on the phone that's stupid to me, like, why am I doing this? And the video explained it all. And you ain't gonna tell me he didn't watch the video before calling me. You know he did, right? And so
Yeah, yeah, of course he did.
he's playing dumb like he didn't. So then I went ahead and said, well, if you had watched the video, which I'm sure you did, then you would understand that she was the one coming on my wall attacking me, not the other way around. So then he had to backtrack himself and say, well, then the next time if she does that, you can come to the sheriff's department. You can get a restraining order against her. Well, now hold on. Why should I go to some law enforcement official to get a restraining order against somebody who's leaving posts on my wall? I didn't break any laws. All I did was make a video and let the world see what was going on. And she didn't like the fact that the truth was wounding her.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And that's what women are like today. I've had so many women on like YouTube comments and Twitters and that say, "Oh, I'm going to call the police. I've passed your terrible, nasty comments to the relevant authorities." And I'm like, yeah, right. But the point I was going to make for the guys in the audience is in my courtroom video, you can't see it. I thought I actually recorded the guys, but to my left rear, there were two Australian federal police officers, not just regular cops, but federal officers. So in the US terminology, they're like FBI, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're they're federal police. The Australian federal police have a slightly different role to the FBI. They're like the FBI, CIA rolled into one, right? So they're feds. They're literally like FBI, and they're armed. So there's two armed FBI agents are sitting to my left rear, and they see, and I predict the crime that's going to happen. And I tell them I'm going to ask David, is he serving under oath today? And I predict that he will not answer, which in itself is a crime. You agree? Yeah, that would be a crime. They both agree. So I said, okay, well, when he does that, I want you guys to arrest him, right? They're
Yeah.
like, oh no, we're not arresting a magistrate. So anyhow, that all happens, and I literally I turn off my video and I turn around to get them, and they're gone. And so if a woman is offended, I'm just terribly upset by a Facebook post, she can literally call the local sheriff's office and complain and expect some sort of response. But for a man, if he's got two federal officers sitting in a courtroom who witness a crime being committed, oh, well, they're going to run away. That's
They're
how
going to
that
run
is
away.
today,
Yeah,
right?
they can't stand up for you. You're just a guy, right? You're not even a
Uh,
human.
yeah, yeah, you're not even human. And by the way, the crime is being committed by a magistrate in a federal court. Well, that's rather more serious than somebody putting a video on somebody's Facebook wall or some YouTube comment, right? a a magistrate committing a crime while sitting in a building called the Australian Federal Magistrates Court, that's kind of a pretty serious crime, right?
Oh, yes. Well, the mother's actually running around Facebook using her juvenile daughter's Facebook account, okay, and not her own. And
Uh,
she sent me a PM from the daughter's Facebook account, and I didn't reply back because I'm looking at it. This is a conniving, sneaking witch. So if I
yeah,
was to reply back, she would take that and run to the sheriff's department and say, look, he's harassing my juvenile daughter to try to get me arrested. Okay?
yeah,
Because then that would stop me from moving to another state because I would be in jail for her conniving, lying, twisting, manipulating evil ass. Well, of course, I'm not stupid enough to fall for that crap. So here she is hiding under her juvenile daughter's Facebook account, still launching attacks against me. Uh, and she's got her sister involved now. And so they'll go through my wife's phone and they'll text and PM and say all this slander shit to me and cut her down and saying, and you're not standing up for your family. And they will upset her and wind her up. So now she's all upset and she's blah, blah, blah. And they keep doing this to her over and over and over. Okay.
Yep.
So then, of course, I strike back. I did a video the other day, and okay, I wasn't as slick as like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when I made that video. She called the sheriff's department on. I put her picture there, and I put their name, Linda. I didn't give the last name, location, or anything, right? And then I talked to her, so everybody got to see the mug I was talking to, right? Well, this
Yep.
time I put a clown's face up, okay? And I gave
Oh,
it
oh, that's rape. You put a clown's face up. That's rape.
I gave it a whole different name. Okay, so now certain family members were told about it, saw it, and they never told her. And she's not smart enough to figure out that was to her. So today, when I posted this little 11-minute video, I made sure and put to the Hayes family, to the nut job Hayes family, to catch their attention. So I would suspect that probably tomorrow or something, sheriff's department will probably be calling my wife's phone again. And I was like, well, I'm leaving the state anyhow, so what are you going to do? Get a restraining order against somebody that never goes nowhere near any of them? Now, what good is that?
Yeah, yeah. This is women. This is the modern woman, right? The modern woman. Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
the
The,
state is my friend. The state is my husband, and I'm going to run off to the state and complain. And the cucks in the police force actually take them seriously.
well, and it's sad because all the evidence can be right there on the wall showing that you're actually the one being harassed by them. And that's just all disregarded. Okay?
Yeah,
How
yeah, yeah.
dare you stand up for yourself to a female? You know you're supposed to just bend over and take it.
Yep.
And I'm
You
a
know, you're
bad
just
boy,
a
Peter. I don't bend over and take it.
no, you're just supposed to tolerate anything that a woman does is okay. You're just supposed to tolerate it because you're not a real person, Bill, because you don't
Right.
have one of those magic things between your legs,
Oh,
right?
yeah, right. That's right. I ain't got that magic biological weapon.
Yeah, you haven't got that magic uh, get out of free jail card. You got a
Yeah.
dangler between your legs. So
I
you know,
used to say this, okay? Well, there's such things as hygiene. And if a woman's hygiene isn't appropriate, I felt that you could strap her to the front end of a military jeep, drop her pants and panties, and probably kill an entire city block with the foul smell that's about them legs. Okay, so because the reality is a woman's hygiene is worse between the legs than a guy. If she not that a guy won't stink if he don't clean up, but she has dried blood mixed with urine that dries up in that damn thing, and I'm telling you, that is a biological weapon within itself.
it can be. I won't say too much about that, but it can be.
Yes. Okay, so
It can be.
I know I'm being sarcastic here, but the point of the matter is the last time I looked, she was a human being and so was the guy. And the last time I looked, when you're born, it took another guy to get her pregnant, of course, naturally, right? She couldn't
Yeah.
have a kid without the man. But then we got Monday Forever Alone Monday that comes up and makes a statement yesterday that if you're a child from parents that cannot have children, so catch this. If you're a child from the parents who cannot have children, then you most likely will be living TFL or incel for the rest of your life. Then, of course, I'm thinking, well, first off, if you're a child from a parent who can't have children, you're not born because they can't have children. So, unless you have adopted this child, and then if you have adopted this child that you're the adopted parent of, what the hell makes you think that they can't fucking ever have a woman in their life because what you've decided this for them? and he's reading off this brand new article, and it's got every single country listed that happens to have the problem with the genders, which was created by NWO and social engineering. So the only good thing he did in that entire video was read off the list of the countries, right? But the rest of it, you got this brand new born infant baby that he's using as, if this baby's born premature, it's going to have a life of incel and TFL because it was premature.
That's a big stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, gigantic stretch, yes.
It's a big stretch.
So,
What is it?
it's insanity is what it is.
I mean, where did he come up with this nonsense?
Well,
I don't watch the guy. I mean, I went and had a look at a couple of his videos and went, "This guy's a nut." That was about it. You talked about him on one of the shows that we did. You talked about him. I'll go and have a look at this guy. I'm like, this guy's an idiot. What's going on?
Well,
I don't have time for that anymore.
Oh yeah. Well, I think Jay's that right. Well, first off, I feel the guy's probably plant a shield to begin with, and what he's really doing for men in the manosphere is he's basically telling them how it's all their fault from the time they're a child. They're at fault for what social engineering's done, so that these guys blame themselves and kill themselves, and so suicide rate goes up because of guys like him.
Yeah. Well, when you start talking fatalistically about, if you were premature, this is going to be the outcome. It's like, no, your outcome isn't written. You can change your outcome if you want to.
Yes.
That's basically it. But I've got a good one for you this week. There's this woman in Australia who's very, very famous in Australia. Her name is Natalie Imbruglia, right? And she's really, back in the 90s, she had this huge, huge album in, I think it was 98, 99, something like that. Massive, massive album, right? She was hit the music scene, and she was hot and she was cute, right? This is 20 years ago, yeah?
Right.
And so she was smoking, literally smoking hot. And she did big in the UK as well. I don't know if she did big in the US, but she was smoking hot, launched this huge album, massively successful, and then had, I think, 3 or 4 follow-up albums over the next 10 years, right?
Right.
And she's actually one of my favorite singers. I actually really like her songs. I've got all her songs. So I'm just browsing the web this week, looking at a few newspaper sites, and her name turns up. I'm like, Natalie Imbruglia, what's she up to, right? So you got to remember, 1999, smoking hot, hits the music scene, superstar in Australia, right? One of the most popular female singers for a decade, yeah?
She's not so hot no more, is she?
Yeah, well, you know what? I opened up this article, and of course, now she's 44, and guess what? She never did find the right man. She never did find the man who's good enough for her, right?
Yeah,
And
that's right.
she's really upset that she never found the man who's good enough for her. But she's got the IVF program, and she got a sperm donor, and she's pregnant now at 44 with no man in her life.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, that's because she was busy rejecting every man she met.
Yeah. And you go, like, the number of guys who would have worshipped her, would have begged her to be their wife, etc. Right? She could have had her pick of any man that she wanted. Literally, she could have had a pick any man that she wanted, but no man was good enough for Natalie. So here she is, 44, single, and using IVF to have a baby at 44.
She's her own enemy. She don't need enemies because she was her own enemy. And the sad thing about this, Peter, is if she's used a sperm bank to get pregnant, the courts are going to stand by going after the donor for child support.
Oh yeah. She'll whatever else she does, she'll probably get some money out of whoever was foolish enough to be the sperm donor as well.
Yeah.
Not that she needs it. I mean, she's very wealthy, but she'll probably go get money out of the sperm donor as well, right?
Well, yeah, people,
So
people like this, it don't matter how much money they got. They could have more money than ours spend, but they still need yours too.
yeah, yeah. But I just thought I was just going through the some site this week. I think it was one of the Sydney Morning Herald or something. I thought, oh, Natalie Imbruglia, what's she doing nowadays? She's 44. She's pregnant. She's having a baby. No man, IVF, and you're just like, yeah. I was sitting there thinking, you just couldn't make this up. A woman as young, as attractive, and as hot as she was, massively popular, right out there in the public focus. Obviously, she was probably second only to Kylie, right? Kylie's pretty big in Australia, and she was probably second only to Kylie through those years, right? So she's very successful, very hot, could have had any man she wanted, but no, she had to keep going and keep going and keep going. And now she's 44 having IVF. And Kylie is talking about, oh, I'm so sad I never got to have children. Yeah,
Well,
well, you got your great career, right? You had your
well, you
wonderful
got your
career.
great career, and the thing is, it's like, okay, this is not off topic, but it's right goes sort of goes along with what Peter's saying. If we go back to Monday, Forever Alone Monday, let's just take the word Monday. People say, why
Yeah.
does he use that name? Well, because Monday stands for Moon Day, and Moon stands for goddess, female worshiping goddess, okay? And this female Peter's talking about, obviously, she was a goddess. There was no guy good enough for her.
Yeah. No guy good enough for her. I tell you what, she'd have been good enough for me back then.
Uh,
She's 11 years younger than me, I guess. I'm 55. She's 44 now. So when she was 24, must have been about 35. Oh, she'd have been perfectly good enough for me, But that's the modern woman. The modern woman is. I can't even. I can't even. I've had this successful career. Blah 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 blah. But I just couldn't find the right man. And she
yeah.
must have had. She must have had plenty of guys panting for her
Well,
during the day.
Peter, it's hard to find the right guy when you reject him in 1 to 5 seconds.
It is. It is. And then you have all these women saying, "Well, I just married the wrong guy. He was a really bad guy." No, no, they go for Chad.
They run
They
after Chad. They run after the guy that's going to treat him like dirt. They wouldn't
Yeah,
want the guy that's going to treat him appropriately because that's weak. You need a guy that's going to treat you like dirt. So that way,
yeah,
when you're through using them and throw them away, you can always say, they treated me like dirt.
yeah, yeah. It's the whole alpha beta thing. The chicks are chasing the alphas. The 80% of women are chasing the 20% of the alphas, and the alphas are like, huh, "Get married? Why would I get married when I got this endless supply of hot women throwing themselves at me?
Well, that's
That'd be really
actually
dumb."
starting to flip itself around. It's slow, but it's happening. Okay? There are more and more women that are actually not choosing the bad boy, the alpha, no more. They're actually choosing the simp, the vagina, because he's the perfect slave.
Well, that's when they get to their 30s.
You
The
know,
once they smack that wall at 30, and it's like, oh, now I have to find someone to marry me, give me kids, and pop out a few pups so I can rape him in the divorce courts. Then the beta is okay, right? They'll marry the beta for that,
yep.
and they'll hate him because they didn't get their Chad that they wanted. They had to settle for Mr. Beta, right?
Well, they hate us anyhow, Peter. I agree with Steve Hoke on this statement because I think Steve Hoke's statement was so true. Women hate men, and men hate men.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay? And when I think about that, that's actually true. I mean, come on, we got, what, 30 freaking years easy of Hollywood and mainstream media bashing down the man. Okay? And everybody thinks that's funny. That's awesome. It's cool. And these little girls grow up from children watching a damn television set music that does nothing but put men down, put men
Yep.
down. So, of course they grow up hating you. You're everything. I mean, you're a guy. You're vile. You're a predator. You're a villain. You're a monster. I mean, you're everything vile just because you got a penis between your legs.
Yep. And they do hate us, and it's very much, you know, there's the penis envy, there's the they're smaller and weaker, and they hate that they need men in their life, they hate that they're dependent on men, and they're really obnoxious about it. That's just what it is. And you know, you know, we knew each other even in the time after we started to know each other. Women still surprised me time and time again at just the visceral absolute hatred that they have for men. It took me quite a while to just come to believe it, because I was like, well, no, that's only a few women. That's only a few women. That's only a few women. No, it's not only a few of them. They really, really hate us,
It's
and
yeah,
they,
it's not a few. It's pretty much every woman out there. And
yeah,
how would you, I mean, honestly, how does society expect it to be any different? You can't have 30, 40, 30 years of male bashing in your media, in your sitcoms, in your movies, in your commercials, and everything around you, and feminist movement putting men down on top of all of that, okay? You got that going on for all these years, and these little girls that grew up, this is what they grew up in. Well, so
yeah,
what did you expect? And then you get the Simpson vaginas. I don't call them manginas because there's nothing manly about their behavior. They're just outright nudgina to me. Okay? So in reality, what did you really expect the outcome to be?
yeah,
You're looking at
yeah,
the
that's right.
outcome. They hate your guts because you are a man.
Yep. I mean, I remember back in 2009. So it's 10 years ago now. It's amazing how fast time's gone. So in 2009, I was having dinner at my parents' place, at my dad's place. So my mum was still alive, but she was not there, right, with her dementia.
Right.
And this was right after my court meeting. So right, that it was a Saturday night after the Thursday. So I had the Thursday of the court meeting, and this was Saturday night dinner down at my parents' place. And he invited his sister over. So my auntie, his sister, and my cousin was having trouble with his wife, blah blah blah, right? And she says, you know, I don't understand how this could possibly be the case. And my sister was 70. Dad's sister was 70 at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you're 70 years old. You're the peer of Jennifer's mother. So Jennifer being my wife, for the guys who don't know, Irene Toll being her mother. I was saying to Dad's sister Jean, you're the peer of Irene. You know, you know that for the last 2 years, I've been criminally abused by Irene's daughter. You know that, right? You're my aunt, you're my brother's sister. You know that Irene Toll has been complicit in criminally abusing me for 2 years, and you've said and done nothing about it. So the reason your son is getting the same treatment as me is because you women say and do nothing. In fact, even worse, when we stand up and we say, no, we're not going to tolerate you women committing perjury, you women let other women slander us and try and destroy our ability to earn our income.
They sure
So
do.
I had a real strong word for her. And my dad says, well, you're not to talk to your auntie like that. Basically turned around and said, screw you. I'll talk to her however I want. And you will never address me like that ever again because you've done nothing yourself. Right.
Well,
And
that's just it, Peter. They think because of their gender that we have to talk to them a special way, but that they can
yeah,
talk to us any way they want, and we have no say so, no right to even stand up for ourselves. And this is why, see, I don't play that game with anybody, including Heather herself. You know, when she wants drama, I let her know right where it stands. I've showed her the door a few times, and I'm not joking. She could be gone as quick as she got here. And it's not going to affect me one way or the other because the reality is this: you will either treat me properly and I will treat you properly, or you can take your ass right out my damn door. Okay?
yep,
Because I don't care. Because I'm not going to abuse you, but you're not going to abuse me.
yep. Well, you're in the position where you don't have children to be concerned about because it's a lot harder when you're married to somebody and you got small children, which was my situation.
Yeah.
But
Well,
but yeah,
Peter, I feel sorry for you in a lot of ways because you was in a position where you had more than one child. You were the breadwinner. You went out of your way and you broke your butt to do what society said you needed to do, and you did. Okay?
yeah,
And your pay was to be thrown under a train, pulled out, and thrown in front of a bus and laughed at.
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. 55 and in debt, coming from what I tell young guys is in 2006, I made $340,000 US in consulting fees. Didn't sell any software. That was just consulting fees. And now most guys are never going to earn that sort of money, right?
That's
Mo-
correct.
mo- most guys would be really happy to be. That's not $2006, right? So in $2006, most guys would be happy to be making 50 grand a year, right? That'd be good money
Yeah.
for a lot of guys. So making 350 grand, 340 grand in a year, that was a lot of money. And
That's a
now,
lot of money. You did really well.
yeah, and
Okay?
now 11 years later, 13 years later, I'm in debt. Why? Because it's okay for women to go around and slander people and lie about them and call them pedophiles and call them wife beaters and call them child abusers. Oh, that's all perfectly okay
That's
that
all
women
no,
go
that's
and
all
slander
Humpty
people.
Dory normal, right? Nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that behavior. So, it's like I've told people for years now, the one thing they have perfected to art is their ability to how to create their very own killer.
yeah, yeah. Lying to people, inciting, lying to men, lying about men in order to destroy their ability to earn their income. That's what they're doing. And for a man, that's a threat against your life because we don't get unemployment benefit. Just for the audience, before we came on, I was talking about how when I was unable to work because I was being politically persecuted, I didn't get any unemployment benefit. There's no unemployment benefit for
No,
me.
there ain't nobody. No, that's just it. Peter was self-employed. Peter done good. That's great. But see, when she left him and used the court system to rape him, and they all stood by and was complicit with it, then they go after everything he ever worked to earn, including his income.
Yeah, yeah. Including destroying your ability to earn your income.
Exactly. And even if
So,
you could earn your income, you're going to lose the majority of your income to her to begin with. So it's like, well, you magically owe her because she's a her and she can't do no wrong. Because
yeah,
even if she does wrong, it's not wrong. And you're a
yeah,
guy. You're always wrong, even if you're right.
yeah. You're a guy, you're screwed. That's what they like to do. And the men are getting more and more pissed off. There's more and more of these cases. There was one Red Pill Married who's got this series called Hockey Mask Time, and there was one this week with a politician, a Democrat politician, killed his wife. He did a story on that this week, and and all the guys in the comments are laughing. So it's now hysterical. So
Well, you know how I feel about that, Peter. You know, and I know this is vile, and people can say you're laughing, and I'm going to say, well, when Morena Bobbitt cut off her husband's penis, you all laughed. All you women laughed, including you, Naginas. When the
yeah,
other gal come along a few years later and drugged her husband because he was going to divorce her, and then tied him to a bed when he was knocked out and sliced it off and put it in the garbage disposal. Once again, you all laughed. It was hilarious. It was funny. Okay, you even let four women come up on national TV and laugh and hee ha ha about it. So, I
yeah,
guess,
with a couple of hundred women in the audience.
yeah. And Morena Bobbitt was a movie star now, idolized by females, and it was just awesome, right? So now that you got this politician who's killed his wife, and guys are laughing, and you're going, huh? Well, isn't that what you done to men?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. They're upset now, and they're really upset that I'm saying to women, look, men are killing women in rapidly increasing rates, and men are doing videos about it, and the men in the audience are laughing. That's where we are today. The
It
men
is.
in the
It is.
audience are
You
laughing
know,
at this.
and the elite. Now they're sitting at the top laughing because they knew this was going to be the outcome. This is
Oh
not
yeah,
no accident. They
yeah,
already knew what the results was going to be. And the
yep,
results are what they are. You know, I've been up here for years telling people and warning people and telling you and warning you and telling you and warning you and telling you and warning you, and you all called me names. So much of you attacked me. I was ha ha ha. I was such a joke. I was a conspiracy theorist, tinfoil wearing hat nut job. And now everything that I told you for all these years, or Peter told you, is materializing in your face. I hear crickets.
yeah. It's crickets, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah.
all those people come back to apologize, huh?
No, 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 no.
Oh no,
Now what we hear is crickets.
crickets. That's right. Well, I was. You were out. You were out public before me, but I went public in June. I say to people, I went public in June 2008, right? On the Sydney Morning Herald, which is the largest newspaper in Australia, on the relationships blog on the Sydney Morning Herald. And I said, if you women do not stop supporting the criminal abuse of men in the divorce courts, you are going to find men are not only going to kill themselves, because there's a very high suicide rate at the moment, but they're going to start killing their wives and children before they kill themselves. And I said that in June 2008. And everyone went, oh, that's crazy. No man would ever kill his wife and children, right?
Oh yeah.
That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. Well, just last year in Australia, just last year, we had 3 of those where the man of the family, in one case it was the grandfather, not the husband, but where the man just killed everyone, just killed everyone. And that was those just 3 incidents with 17 people. It was 3 men, 4 women, and 10 children, right?
Yes.
Just those 3 incidents, and there were plenty of others, but 3 men, 4 women, and 10 children. So those 10 children had to die because women want the ability to lie and steal. That's why those
That's
children
really
died.
what it comes down to, because in reality that's exactly what women are doing. You know, it's like with this morning, Heather typed to her soon to be aunt and told her that she can't get to the wedding because I'm not bringing her, and that you cancel you decided my husband couldn't attend this wedding with me, so you're the one that canceled out. And she left a voicemail on my Heather's phone, and she plays the voicemail back on speaker, and I hear her saying, well, that's before I knew how he was, how I am, you know.
Oh
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah. Well,
really?
how you
So
are?
how am I? Oh, that's right. I spoke up for myself against her mother when she made all these lies up and told the truth, and she's been wounded by truth. So here you are, another female. Well, I don't care if she lied or what she done to you. You have to bend over and take it because you're a guy.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. You're a guy. That doesn't matter what happened to you. Doesn't matter what was said to you. Doesn't matter what was done.
So I took it. I went and made a video this morning, an 11-minute video, and posted it up on Facebook only. And I addressed it to the Hayes family, the nut job Hayes family, so that they would see it. Now, I do expect I'll probably get a phone call tomorrow or something from the sheriff's department. But, you know, what are they going to do? I made it plain and clear in the video. Hey, I'm not going nowhere near them. I'm not
Yeah,
threatening
yeah.
no violence. I'm breaking no laws. I have a right to stand up for myself, and it's only words. And if these words are hurting them, maybe she should really think, maybe instead of law enforcement being complicit with corruption, they should actually practice trying to do their job and call the villain for who they are rather than calling the victim the villain.
Yeah. Well, the police have been highly complicit right through this process, and there's still not any cops flipped and said, okay, well, yeah, when women commit perjury, we really do need to deal with that. There's nobody out there, no men judges, no men cops, no men lawyers out there saying, yeah, when women commit perjury, we really do have to clean that up. There
Not
aren't any
even
guys
women
out there
judges.
saying,
You ain't even got women judges standing up against their own gender saying, look, you've committed perjury. You're lying on this guy. Oh no, they're all just as complicit.
yeah, yeah. Well, there's plenty of women politicians. There's plenty of women lawyers. There's plenty of women judges. There's plenty of women police, and there's plenty of women managing women's detention facilities or women's jails. Women said
Yes.
they wanted all those jobs, and we gave them those jobs, but they won't prosecute women who commit crimes. Certainly not to any similar extent that men prosecute men who commit crimes.
No. Oh, but they'll prosecute a man real quick, won't they?
Oh yeah, but yeah, if a man calls a fat woman fat, well, that's obviously rape, and he needs to go to jail, right? So that's how that is, and it's very clear, and the young men can see it, and we keep laying it out and saying this is how it is. That you're considered subhuman, you're considered not worthy of the protection of the law. You could go on any group you like and talk to anybody you like and say, hey, where are the women around here who want equal sentencing? There's plenty of women around here who want equal pay, plenty of women around here who want equal rights. Where are the women who want equal sentencing? Can't seem to find any of those women.
Oh no,
No,
that's when
no.
you hear crickets again and you can't find them.
Crickets. I'll tell you another funny one. I was talking to this woman the other day, and this isn't just any ordinary woman. This is a woman who's an older woman. She's in her 60s, very knowledgeable, very well traveled. I won't say particularly what she was, but let's just take it as very knowledgeable, very well traveled, right?
Hmm.
And I was talking to this woman, and she's talking about Angela Merkel. And I was saying, oh, yeah, what's your opinion of Angela Merkel? She says, oh, well, I think she's done a really good job in Germany. I said, really? You think she's done a good job in Germany? Why is that? Well, the integration of East Germany and trying to get the whole economy working, et cetera, et cetera. I think she did a good job at that. Blah 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 blah. She's done a good job in the 10 years she's been there, 10 or 12 years or whatever. Oh, really? Okay. Because well, you sound a little bit dubious. Why is that? I said, well, Angela Merkel's not my favorite person. He goes, well, why is she not your favorite person? Well, she had four cops come through on her personal orders. She had four cops come through my door, assault me, cuff me, kidnap me, and unlawfully jail me for 19 days. Angela Merkel's a criminal. She goes, oh, yeah, well, that may have happened, but she did do a good job in East Germany, right? And I was like, did you hear what I just said?
That went in one ear out the other and down the street, Peter.
And she's like, well, yeah. I said Angela Merkel had me unlawfully jailed, and she is a criminal who should be prosecuted and jailed herself. She goes, yeah, but she did do a good job in East Germany. I'm just like, okay. And that's what women are like. That's literally what women are like. Doesn't matter if a woman commits a crime. That's fine. You're just a man.
You're just a man. You're not even human. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. I was on a live stream last night. Got a little carried away. It was a little over 3 hours long, but I made this statement, and I'll stick to it. Since we live in a world where women hate men and men hate men and men are so hated, I don't know why you're allowing baby boys to be born without killing them. Shouldn't we just kill every brand new boy that's born? Shouldn't we say, "Oh, it's a boy, kill it"? No,
We're
but you
not
know
far
why
away.
they won't do that, Peter? Because
We're not
they
far away
enjoy.
from
Well,
that.
yeah, but really, the reason they won't do it is because they want to treat the boy like he's special while he's a young child, and as soon as he hits that right age, they're going to shove him in front of a bus, and they enjoy watching men suffer.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They're getting their entertainment out of watching human suffering.
yeah.
That's really what's going on. This is how evil women are. They're getting their entertainment out of watching men suffer.
Yeah, they like it. They get their kicks out of telling lies
Yep.
and inciting men to go and attack other men. That's entertainment for women.
Yes.
That's getting their kicks. And you can see there's been a number of cases recently where women falsely accusing men of rape and things like that, and getting some guy to go beat some guy up and all the rest of it. That's becoming more prominent in the reporting of. I don't think it's any more prominent in actually happening, but it's getting a little bit more prominent in being reported more regularly. But yeah, women telling lies to men to go get some man to go beat some other man up. That's always been the way of it.
Yeah. It's just supposed to be as it's like what you call this normal behavior. Well, you know where society's headed, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Society's headed for collapse.
yeah. The West is going down. There's nothing that can be done about it
No.
because the young men, the young men are seeing this and they're saying, no, I'm not going to work in this. I'm not going to participate in this. I'm going to try and minimize my contribution, minimize my taxes, and just get along. And then when the shit hits the fan, we'll see how equal the women are. Right?
Well, when shit hits the fan, what's going to happen is when there's blood on the streets and these women are looking for their protection won't be there for them because they shit on them their whole life.
No, won't be there.
They're going
It'll
to
be
enjoy watching the woman being victimized like she enjoyed watching the guy being victimized.
Yeah. I mean, most guys in the West didn't ever bother reading about what happened in Russia and the Ukraine during the 20s and the 30s when they introduced no fault divorce. They introduced no fault divorce and introduced one third of the man's assets to be taken on accusation that he fathered a baby, because back then they didn't have DNA testing, right?
Right.
So the woman only had to accuse the man of being the father of the baby, and the communists came along and took off a third of his property, right? And so, you know what happened? The women made all these false allegations, and the commies certainly took away the property of the men. And the men went, "Oh, screw this! I'm not going to bother working." Right now,
Basically, yeah.
this is Russia, where it's actually pretty hard work to produce food. Right? It's pretty hard work to produce enough food for everyone. And the men said, "No, in quite large numbers." Right?
Well, unfortunately, Peter, that's actually what needs to happen is in large numbers worldwide. Men need to just say think and walk away from women. But you're
Yeah.
not going to get that happening. You got too many thirsty, starving vaginas out there that won't believe anything that Peter says or I say. They'll be 20, 21 years old. That's why I was so impressed with Jay. Being 21 years old and being aware as he is, that impressed me. Because most
Yeah.
guys his age are going to call me and Peter names, say we're full of it, and run right out there and get themselves into it. And then when they realize that we didn't lie to them, then they're going to come back like, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, they knew. Well, I don't know if you know Gab, which was started by Andrew Torba.
Yeah,
So Andrew just had a baby this week, right? Got married a year ago, roughly, and the baby arrived this week, and he's on Gab saying, "Wow, it's the best day of my life," and blah 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 blah, right? So I put a post back to him, basically saying, "Well, I understand how you feel because I had two children. And by the way, if you want to talk to my two children, they're 26 and 28 now, and here are their Facebook links, and both of them have betrayed me along with my wife." And I said to him, the question you should be asking yourself, Andrew, I said, Andrew, I've been defending your rights for 12 years, defending your right to be the father you might choose to be one day, which you now are, right?
yeah.
I've been defending you for the last 12 years, but you know who's not been defending you? Your mother and your now wife. So your mother and your wife have not helped me defend your rights to be the father that you choose to be. And there's only one reason for that, because your wife wants the option one day.
One day your wife will take that option and you will be sitting in Peter's shoes,
Yeah,
wondering how you got there. And I don't
yeah,
know why you're going to wonder. All you had to do is open your ears and let your brains register and open your eyes and look around you and you would have seen it right in your face, happening to man after man after man. Well,
Yep.
somehow you think you're above that?
Oh yeah, not my cupcake, right? That's the not
Yeah,
my cupcake. And the Gab is a little bit different because the people there are a bit more sensible than on Twitter, right? And you're
yeah.
talking to these women, and there's women on there saying, "Oh, we've got to have more babies. We've got to have more white babies. There's not enough babies being born, etc." And I go and say, "Well, no, us white men have had enough of you white women and all your white women attacking white men in the divorce courts, etc. You're welcome to have mulatto babies with Muslim men. Knock yourselves out, right?"
Yeah,
And you get into these conversations of, "Oh, well, not all white women are like that." And I go, "Well, look, I've been at this 12 years, 50,000 women know my case, including lots of women politicians, etc., and none of them are helping. How could it be if not all women are like that? How could 50,000 women, including you, know that I've been criminally abused for 12 years and do nothing to help?"
because all women are like that.
Because
How
all women
would
are exactly like that, right?
how would all women not be like that? Come on, 30 years of feminism and male bashing in the media from the time they were a child growing up, and then they realized when they got older, wow, I got power. Look at this power I wield in my hand over a man.
Yeah,
Okay? And you're going to tell me they're not going to be that way? BS. Power and greed absolutely corrupt the human mind just as bad as ego does. And
yeah,
what can I say, man? You created this psychopath, narcissist women, self entitled bitches, excuse my language, but that's what they are. Okay? And you created them. I don't know how you can sit there and whine about what you created. And if you're going to still sit there to use Simpson vaginas, placing that woman above yourself, then quit whining about the behavior when it happens to you.
yeah, yeah. Well, women have got this thing, their cell phone. They know that they can just call the police on their cell phone anytime and get them to attack any man that they want.
Yeah, basically, that's how that works.
It doesn't matter if they lie, doesn't matter what they do. I can use this little device in my hand and I can get the cops, I can get the full force of the government to come and grab this guy and throw him in jail. Nothing's going to happen to me.
Yeah, they could just make up whatever lie they damn well want. I mean, what do you think the witch was doing when she was under her daughter's account? She was
Yeah,
trying. That's the reason she wanted me on the messenger, is because she was trying to set me up.
yeah. And this is how dishonest they are. They're fundamentally dishonest. The 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 one the women have two weapons against men. One is sex, but they can't use that against very many men, right?
Yeah,
They can use it against a small number of men, and then it's kind of that weapon's kind of worn out. And the second weapon is lies,
yeah,
and that's the other weapon they use against men is lies, and they can use that against a lot of men, and they do
they do it
because
regularly.
they do it, and they do it because there's no punishment. There's no punishment at all for women lying. Never, never happens. When a woman lies, never happens that she's punished for it. Like never happens. So did you see this one this week? This Democrat congresswoman in Georgia claimed this guy had said go back to where he came from, right? Does this Facebook post and is crying and she's all upset and blah blah blah. Well, no, she even admitted that it didn't happen. But now they're getting behind her with a bunch of lawyers and saying that, well, no, what she said was false, but she still felt fearful, and making her fearful is a crime, and so the man needs to be prosecuted for making her fearful, right?
Yeah,
And there is no punishment in Western society. There is no punishment for women lying and stealing. There isn't. Extraordinarily rare is a woman punished for lying and stealing. I mean, there was a case in the UK where a woman had to make 20 false rape allegations before she was jailed. 20 times
And
she
you can
made false
imagine
rape
every one of
allegations.
these guys was run through the system, you
Yeah.
know. And if they're run through the system and then they're put on a sex offenders list for the public to see, and they never done it, you destroy that guy's life for the rest of his life on your damn lie. And you have no care about that at all because it's just a guy.
Yep. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I can lie. I can lie about men, and nothing's ever going to happen to me. And all these women who wanted to be in politics, all these women who wanted to be judges, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's been on the bench what, 25, 30 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been on the Supreme Court, oh, most of my adult life. She's never come out and said, well, as a one of the first women on the Supreme Court, I really think women should get equal punishment for the same crime. She's never said that.
No, she don't
And
want women to have equal punishment. She thinks they should have a slap in the hand and go home.
yeah, off you go. Not even a slap on the hand, a reward for criminally abusing this man. So then you have women like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You have Angela Merkel made it to Chancellor of Germany. You have Theresa May made it to Prime Minister of the UK. Margaret Thatcher, Indira Gandhi, Julia Gillard, and none of these women who made it in politics, none of these women who made it as judges or lawyers or police officers or anything else like that, none of these women anywhere in the world that I'm aware of have ever uttered the words women should, if equality is to mean anything, it should mean equal punishment for the same crime, and I'm going to do my bit to make sure that happens. Those words haven't been uttered by any woman anywhere in the world.
No, they haven't.
And the young men are noticing, and just the level of hypocrisy, the level of hatred, they're noticing it. And all the way down to the youngest one we've got is Igor. There's a young kid, Igor, uh, does video games and Mito content. The kid's 12 years old, Igor Mito. And it's like kids down to, the youngest guy I've talked to is 10 years old. And I'm telling women, I talk to young men and boys all the way down to 10 years old, and I tell them that you're just plain evil. I just tell them you're just plain evil, and they won't say. None of the women say, oh, "Okay, look, Peter, you're 55. You're obviously well-spoken, well-traveled, intelligent man. You're telling me I'm evil. Why am I evil? Well, here's why. Oh, well, we need to address this. We need to address the 12 years of criminal abuse you've suffered. We need to address the fact you've been impoverished. We need to address the fact you weren't paid your unemployment benefit. We women need to address all these things. Otherwise, yeah, calling us evil is a pretty damned accurate description, right?
Basically, yeah.
Basically, yeah. I mean, these women vote for welfare for women right across the board. Yeah, anything. I had a bad hair day. I need some welfare payments, right?
Well, they
Welfare
do
for women.
that, you know. And then you got the money laundering scam of cancer. And guys get breast cancer too. But there is no funding to help a man with breast cancer. That's only
No.
for females.
Well, there's no funding for men's cancer at all, men's cancer research,
No,
etc. at all.
you
And
know.
uh,
I
I
mean,
mean,
you know,
men.
and the sad thing is this cancer, they've had to cure for cancer for years and years and years and years and years, more years than you can count. But they're never going to release it because they're making too much money and population reduction off of it.
Yeah, they're managing to kill people off with it. I
Yes.
mean, I'm in the camp with can't remember the guy's name. There's an Italian doctor who believes cancer is a fungus, and that you make sure you don't get it by taking bicarb of soda. Just alkalinize your bloodstream. So I take bicarb of soda for that, and that also helps some stomach problems I have. So I know it does help, and hopefully I won't get cancer. But there's Stefan Molyneux, although he says many things that are wrong. One of the comments that he does make is men invented labor saving devices for women before they invented life-saving devices for men, and that's
Yeah,
still true today.
that is true.
Men will pander to a woman who's broken a fingernail by stepping over a homeless guy starving to death in the street, right?
That's it. That's it. I mean, you know,
But
it's been several years back that I always remember that case where a homeless guy went to the rescue of a female who was actually being mugged on New York City streets, and security cameras caught the whole thing. And the homeless guy got stabbed by the perp that was mugging the woman, and the woman who he saved walked away and left him there to die and never even called for help.
yeah, yeah, that's right. And that's normal. That's normal. That's standard. That's not unusual, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's not
That's just what
unusual at all. So
it's just
this is how much these women really care for you men. So you men think you're praising these women, calling them goddesses. That's the other joke about Monday Forever Alone Monday. The guy's a freaking agent, and he's up there making a mockery out of men. And he's using a name that leads back to the moon, which leads to goddess. So he's mocking you. He's worshiping women while he's feeding you a line of crap.
yep. Well, like I said, I listened to just a couple of his videos and went, this guy's an idiot," and moved on. Right? Because I got enough other things to worry about than listening to him.
Oh,
But
that's probably the best thing you could do, you know. I don't pay attention to much. I subscribe to him only because I know he's a shill. And I see what he puts up, but I don't go watch him. But I couldn't help myself when I seen him post that video on incels for mature babies. Immature babies will be incel. I had to go look to see what the clown was saying. And I didn't even watch the whole video. I got 5 minutes in or so. And then I heard him say what he said. And I says, no, you didn't just say that. And I backed it up and says, yup, you're stupid enough to say that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, saying things like if you're born immature, you're going to be a tear fella or whatever. It's like it's ridiculous. It's just really ridiculous.
It is. It's over the top. I mean, ridiculous. But, you know, unfortunately, he was reading a new article. And you could tell this has all been socially engineered. And this is, you know, the real excuse is we need to go back to the original narrative, Peter, that it's the man's fault.
Oh yeah, it's always the man's fault. Yeah,
You
everything
know,
is always and only the man's fault.
exactly. And that's really what it is. Let's go back to the original narrative that it's the man's fault, it's always the man's fault, and always will be the man's fault, and that the woman absolutely makes no mistakes whatsoever.
Yep, that's where we're at. And then they call in the police. They call in the divorce courts. They nuke your life. Absolutely nuke your
Yup, they
life.
would destroy your life in that courtroom. And
Yep.
they won't even hesitate. They won't think twice about it. And your life will be destroyed by her. And she will get her power trip off on it, her ego will boost up, and she'll feel all big and she'll be looking for her next victim, another guy.
Yeah. Another guy dumb enough to wife her up. That's
Yep.
right. That's the plan. That's the plan. And you look at these women YouTubers who have been trying to go husband hunting. And there's so many of these women YouTubers out there husband hunting. It's just ridiculous. And they get lots of views, lots of simps. They're all there.
Oh, yeah, they're going to, well, you know, they just sit back and take their pick of which is the next sucker. Who is the next sucker? Who is the next sucker? That's what it really comes down to. And of
Yeah,
course, you
yeah,
know, and the real kick in the ass is, of course, they're going to say all the right things, Peter. They're going to tell you how much they love you and how much this and everything you want to hear to the
yeah,
guy they're picking to rail you in. It's just like the fish on the line, and they're railing us in.
yeah, yeah. I would never do that to you. I would never take you through the divorce courts. That's just not me. No, 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 no. I would never do that. Yep, they all say
Yeah,
it. They all say it.
They'll all say it, and then every last one of them will go back on what they said. You know, I remember years ago I had an argument with with a female neighbor of a friend of mine, as she was complaining about the guy she was seeing, that he had changed his mind about something, and she made it plain and clear: men are not allowed to change their mind. And I was underneath the hood working on a vehicle, and I looked up at her and said, "You said what?" She says, "Men are not allowed to change their mind." And I says, "You want to bet?" She says, "No, even you. You're a guy. You can't change your mind." And I says, "Life's a two-way street. If you get in my lane, I will run you over." And she says, "It is not a two-way street. It's a one-way street. It's only women."
Yeah, yeah. This is actually what they think.
Yes, exactly. And she
They-
was dead serious. And I said, "You play that book with me and I'll run your ass over." And she got pissed off and went in the house. And I could
Yeah,
care less that she went back into her damn house. That's where she belonged.
yeah. Back in the kitchen making a man a sandwich. Yeah,
I don't
but
even
yeah,
know that I would trust the sandwich anymore, Peter. She might drug it to cut something off and become a star.
yeah. But there's a saying is the saying is it's a woman's prerogative to change her mind, and the other saying is a man is as good as his word.
Yeah,
So yeah, when I was growing up, I was like, how come that is? So well, women don't have to keep their word. I was told. Huh. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Women don't have to keep their word, but men do. That's interesting.
well,
I was told that like when I
that's
was
that
7.
that's that corruption again. That's that double standard.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. It's
that's
a
what
double
double
standard.
standards are, is corruption. It's just
Yeah.
like taboo. TFL was a taboo topic. And what's taboo? Well, that's something you can't discuss. Well, why can't I discuss it? Because we said so. Well,
Yeah.
watch me discuss it.
We don't want you discussing it because it's going to lead nowhere good for us.
That's really what it comes down to. You know, Peter, I got
Yeah.
another guy, Joe. He's from Australia. And last night he was on with me for about an hour and a half worth, and it's the second time. And we discussed, so this next Saturday night, because he's 14 hours ahead of me on his time. Okay,
Yeah.
but on that first live stream he was on with me, I was getting a kick. Ron came in and said, "Wow, a younger version of Peter." Okay, okay. I was laughing when he said that. And Joe's pretty, I mean, he's pretty smart and he's up on this stuff. Well, his mother was there and he's sitting there with his back turned to his mother. And now nobody can see this because like today's show, you're seeing me and Peter. But I had set the studio up so if somebody called in, their phone number wouldn't be for the public. So they couldn't see Joe's face or my face. They're hearing our voices, right? But I'm seeing Joe because we're like on Zoom, like me and Peter are looking at each other. And
Yeah.
I'm noticing his mother standing down the hallway behind him. And he can't see his mother because his back's turned to her and he's looking at the screen, right? And we're doing our show. When pretty soon his mother came back out of the room, walked down the hallway, and she was trying to stay to the far side of the hallway to not be in the cam. And I watched her walk up and by him, and you could hear her whispering in the background. And then Joe had to get off for a little while, and then his mother left and he came back on. Oh, I'm dangerous. The stuff he was talking about, you don't never talk to him again. Now, Joe's 32 years old. His mother's telling him he's not allowed to talk to me because I'm dangerous.
32-year-old, and his mother's telling him what he can do.
It
What's he
didn't
doing
matter.
still? What's he still doing living in his mother's home? You
You
should.
know, I was laughing because it's like, and then last night he mentioned it again. He says his mother, you know, she hates these topics with a passion. Well,
Oh,
of
of
course
course,
she
of
does,
course.
because this is telling on her evil, twisted ass. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
dangerous because I'm telling the truth, and that female, she's feeling threatened. She might lose something she don't belong having. A power trip.
yeah, yeah. Well, they do not like the truth being told. They do not like the truth being told, and it's true. You know it's true, and they know it's true because how angry they get, right?
Yeah,
If it wasn't true, they just present some contrary evidence. right?
Yep.
But they can't present any contrary evidence because it doesn't exist. Because if it existed, we would have talked about it by now. This is like all these women who say, "Well, not all women are like that." Well, show me the women who are
Yeah,
campaigning equal
definitely.
sentencing. Show me them. Show me these women.
Show me a woman that's going to come up here and literally speak out. I think in all the years online, I've only seen 2 women come up and talk about the male bashing in the media. And then they were being slammed by a bunch of other women, and then they disappeared offline.
Yep. Yep. Well,
So,
did you know?
so where are the women who are different? If not all women are like this, please show them to me. I mean, I would say that we still have some good women, but they're elderly women who were taken years ago. Okay? Any women in today's society, pretty much, you could pretty much count on they're corrupt as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know. I put a video up about it, but Mercedes Carrera has been jailed over a false allegation of molesting her own daughter. So she's been in jail for 6 months now, nearly seven
I remember
months.
you did do a video on that, yeah.
Yeah, 6 or 7 months she's been in jail. Where are all the feminists? Oh, well, they're nowhere to be seen. And I haven't seen much fuss from her followers either. She's
Well,
got
and I don't
a lot
want
of
to be the
followers.
burden on the horse's back here, but the situation is simple. Whether she did it or didn't do it, this has happened to so many men. And even if she's
Yeah,
innocent of it, okay, it still comes down to the fact it's happened to so many men. And not one woman has ever stepped up to the plate and took the defense of a man.
yeah, yeah. That's right. Oh, well, oh, it must be true, or it might be true. So, we have to pretend like it is, and we have to act in the best interest of the child, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But yeah, I think it was like mid-February or so, she was arrested, and I couldn't figure out where she went, and I sent her a couple of emails and things like that. Didn't hear back, and it took me quite a while to realize that she's actually still in jail. And so now you've got a case of the ex-husband or father. I don't know if they were actually married, but the father of the child saying, "Oh, the mother's sexually abusing her, and because she's a porn star, oh well, that's going to be believed, and they throw her ass in
Well,
jail."
the thing is as much as people don't want to hear this, there are females that sexually assault children.
Oh yeah, yeah, there
Okay,
are
it's never been
plenty of
one.
them.
It's never, ever, ever been one sided. You have female pedophiles that are turned on to children.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, plenty of them.
no different than a man. Okay, but our society loves to only preach about men and women. They're
Yeah,
loving and nourishing. Well, I'm sure she was loving and nourishing when she took her clothes off or took his clothes off, right? She
yeah,
was just being
yeah,
loving and nourishing, right?
yeah. Well, I was reading an article today. I can't remember which website it was on. Is it possible for a woman to rape a man? Like, as a realistic question, I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yes, it
we're
is.
we're in we're in 2019, and this is still a question. Is it possible for a woman to rape a man?
I know, which is retarded. I had years ago, the guy was only 14, 15 at the time, and that topic actually came up. And he was standing there in the kitchen with his mother, and he says, "A woman can't rape a man." And I says to him, "What makes you think that?" He says, "Well, it's got to be erect, so it would never work." And so Arthur, so if she drugged you and you woke up tied to a bed naked, and she started going down there and doing this and this and this to you, what do you suppose would happen? And he stood back and he thought a minute and he looked at me and said, "Oh shit, I never thought about that."
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, what do you suppose would happen? Of course she could rape you. It's just you'll be laughed out of the courtroom if you turn it in.
yeah, yeah. If you actually try and tell anybody, well, you probably enjoyed it anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. You enjoyed
You
it anyhow.
you you,
You'll be
you must have
laughed out of the
enjoyed it.
courtroom. I mean, come on. When you had the little boy that was, what, 10 or 11 or whatever, 12 years old, the hot looking school teacher had sex with, well, he was supposed to feel lucky.
Yeah, yeah. You have school teachers giving kids alcohol, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids alcohol, and having sex with them. Well, that's not rape. That was consensual. That was okay. You know,
Yeah.
it's that ridiculous. It's that
Well, it is. You
ridiculous.
know, most of the time they get their hands slapped. Now, you did have that one school teacher. She was having this affair with the boy. She got popped. She went to jail for a short amount of time, got out, and then went back and had the affair with the boy again. And then went back for a second round where she got 7 years. Well, if that had been a guy, he would have had 10 plus the first round. A second round, they would have thrown away the key.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. They would throw away the key the second time, and just as likely he'd be killed in jail, as
Yes,
likely as not.
exactly, exactly. But because it's a female, somehow, once again, we have justified it to be okay.
Yeah, and that's normal. Yeah, MD Federico is saying the school teacher got 20 years. Yeah, I don't believe that she's going to serve more than a year of that 20 years. There's been a couple of cases lately where long prison sentences have been given to women, but I don't think they're going to serve them at all.
They'll probably get out on parole after a couple, 3 years or whatever the state or wherever they're at determines is the minimum they have to serve. Then they'll come up for parole and most likely be released on parole.
Oh, they'll be there just for a couple of months until
You
the until
know,
the until the public situation dies down, and then they'll just quietly let them go and say, be quiet about this. Don't get yourself into any trouble. If you get yourself into any trouble, you might serve quite a bit longer next time, right? That's
yeah.
all they'll do. They'll let them skate.
Most likely they're going to get by with it one way or the other. They'll sure serve a short sentence. I understand what he's saying. Well, they sentenced him to 20 years, but it's a female. And you really
Yeah,
have to be in the back door to watch the system to see if they'll actually serve that 20 years. Because females are get by with murder all the time because our society condones it. Our society turns their head to the female and allows it to take place and goes after the victim because he's a guy.
yeah. That's what happens all the time. I mean, you see it all the time with he abused me. Oh, poor dearie. So you can skate, you can walk because you were abused. You don't have to produce any evidence. You just say you're abused and you can skate after you kill your husband.
Well,
So
I've been speaking up on TFL topics and the dating scene topics and calling men and women both equally across the board out for years. And every time it comes to a female, there's some stupid vagina that comes along and attacks me, and I become a misogynist, a woman hater, a mentally ill, somebody who's mentally ill, because I
yeah,
dared to say what's right, what's correct against a
yeah,
female. Then you wonder why women act the way they act, huh?
yeah. There's so many guys who will be manginas. There's so many guys who will be white knights, and the women are never punished in any significant way. So why wouldn't they keep at it? And they all know what's going on. They all like it. They all like the
Oh, they
ability
love it. They love it. They're wielding
to
this power over men,
yeah,
is
yeah.
really what
They
they're
like
doing.
the ability to commit crimes against men, to lie about men, to destroy their ability to earn their income. They like all that. And social media, now when a woman slanders a man, she's not just slandering him in front of half a dozen of his friends, she's slandering him in front of the whole world. And it's searchable by name, right?
Yeah,
So she gets to really destroy his ability to earn his income. 100 years ago, if you slandered a man, you might just get yourself into a duel, right? Because
yeah.
slandering the man might affect his ability to earn his income. Well, women slander men publicly on searchable online media today and faced no censure at all. Absolutely none. Not even when they admit that they were lying will they actually suffer any punishment. And all the women around them will make up excuses and blah blah blah. That's how it is today. And the young men are seeing it. The young men are really clear that it's going on. And they're like, okay, well, I can see the writing on the wall. I can see what this is all about. There's no way that anybody can hide this anymore. So the only out the women have got is to keep lying about you, keep lying about guys like you and me, keep slandering us, but now they're up shit creek without a paddle with me because I have an alias and they don't know my new name. So they can't slander me anymore. And the number of women who are really pissed off that they can't destroy my ability to earn my income, they're really pissed off about that. They're not saying, okay, gee, this guy has been criminally abused for 12 years. He has been impoverished. He's trying to earn his way out of it. Maybe we should be helping him. Maybe we should be doing the right thing. No, there's not one woman in the entire world saying that. They're all saying, we want to find out what his new name is. We want to find out what his new company, his new job is, because we want to destroy that too.
That's
Right?
exactly what that is. So that has to be private information kept to Peter, and I don't blame him a damn bit. And that should always stay private, kept to Peter, because they don't need to know.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. That's what's going on. In in 12 years, like my wife stole money in August 2007. And here we are, we're just a couple of days away from August 2019, right?
Yes.
So in a couple of weeks, it will come up 12 years where my wife walked into a bank and stole 18,000 euros. I was listening to an old tape from Australia about Shane Warne, who was our good spin bowler, right? And I didn't know it, but there was an Australian player who had retired and who was his mentor. I knew that, but I didn't realize his name was Terry Jenner. I didn't realize he went to jail for embezzling $1,500, and he embezzled $1,500. They gave him 18 months in jail, and he was a Test cricketer in Australia, right? And yet, a woman can steal as much money as she likes. She's never going to jail for stealing money. Not going to happen. Even a crime so clear as stealing money. So it is a couple of weeks. It will be 12 years since my wife walked into a bank and stole 18,000 euros. And there's not a single woman anywhere in the world standing up and saying, hey, stealing is a crime, even when a woman does it. Not one.
No,
Not one.
they just don't care.
Yep. Stealing's not a crime when a woman does it, apparently.
No, obviously, when a woman does it, it's not a crime. It's unacceptable behavior.
Yeah. Oh, she needed it. She needed the money. That's what that is. Oh,
Well,
she
yeah,
needed the money.
she
Yeah.
needed it. She needed it worse than anybody else, because she's a female.
Yeah, yeah. But if a homeless guy mugged a woman and stole her purse because he needed the money, well, he's going to jail for at least 2 or 3 years,
Oh
right?
yeah. Well, you can't even feed the homeless, but I'll bet you if the homeless were all women, they'd allow it.
Although there are no homeless women. I mean, a homeless woman, homeless for woman means living in a government shelter. Homeless for man means living under a bridge.
Well, actually, they do have homeless women, but them are the women minus kids, and they're
No,
and
I
they're
mean,
up in age. And
I've
here in the states, I know that to be true.
oh well,
Okay.
maybe there's some homeless women now in the US because of what's going on in with the refugees and all the rest, all the immigrants and refugees,
Yeah.
etc. Right?
Yeah.
But
And unfortunately, I know it to be true, but I'll tell you what, the numbers of homeless women are like fraction. I mean, a little dinky fraction compared to men. Okay. And if the woman has kids, she ain't never going to be homeless.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And the
Well,
boys, this is another really BS thing. If the woman has kids, as long as the boy's under the age of 13 or 14, he can stand the shelter. But once he gets to a certain age, like if he's 15 or 16, forget it. He's out.
yeah, he has to be out on the street, right?
Yep, he's out on the street.
Because I mean, um, there's the recent situation in the US, but until recently, a woman being homeless was she was in a government shelter. A man being homeless, he was under a bridge. But I haven't been to the US for a long time, but I don't believe there's any significant number of women homeless as compared to the number of men who are homeless. When I see some of the video out of places like San Diego and LA and places like that, we've had all these immigrants come in. There's no housing for them, and those guys are having little tent cities and all the rest of it. So that's pretty tough. But certainly in the UK, Germany, France, most places around Europe, when a woman's homeless, she's in a government shelter. When a man's homeless,
Yeah.
he's under a bridge.
Yeah, and see, and I can't say for the other countries. You'd have more of an idea about that than I would, Peter. I can only tell you here in the States, you do have homeless women, but they're very, 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 very few compared to the men. And if a woman has kids, she's not going to be homeless at all.
Never homeless. No,
And the
never
guy,
homeless.
well, he'll be homeless. It don't matter. If you're married to a woman and your family becomes homeless and you got children, the guy's on a limit and he has to be out.
Yeah, yeah. The guy's kicked out, and the woman gets free everything.
That's it.
That's basic.
You
That's
know,
basically what's going on.
it's like domestic violence shelters for men. I think there's now 2 shelters in the United States that are for men, okay, abused by women, and thousands for women.
Oh yeah, thousands and thousands of them. I'm
Okay.
surprised there's two. I'm surprised there's any.
It took them years to get them 2 shelters, and it took a woman fighting for men to get them.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just this is how men are treated, and then we're expected to work hard and pay our taxes and all the rest of it.
Oh, yeah, you're supposed
It's
to work hard and break your butt to support the very society that has demonized you and shoved you out and wants you dead.
yeah, yeah. And the young men are noticing all this and going, that does not look like a very attractive deal. And once young men in a society stop working, that's it. It's over. And that's what I was talking about with Russia. When the men stopped working growing food in Russia, that was the base cause of the famines. And then they were having famine in Russia, so they went and stole all the food from the Ukrainians as well. And they had the big about 7 million people starved to death in the Ukraine because the Russians stole their food, because the women stole the money from the men and the men stopped working. That's what actually happened. And then the women, because the men stopped working, there's no food. The women kicked their kids out onto the street into the Russian winter, and there's various estimates of how many kids perished during the Russian winters in the 20s because their mothers kicked them out onto the street because they didn't have enough food.
Yeah,
So pretty
I've
bad.
heard about this. I also heard about in some of your third world nations where women were actually pimping their children out to child predators for money to feed the family.
Oh yeah, yeah. And they sell the girls for prostitution or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's standard. All that stuff is standard. I mean, there was a case recently where that was came up in the media where the mother had allowed the new boyfriend to rape the daughter, right?
Uh huh.
And and he got like 10 or 15 years, and she got like 2 years or something, right? And the women are like, "How could that possibly be? How could the mother do that?" And I was like, "That's standard. That's normal. That the woman gets rid of the husband. She wants some extra money. She's getting money from the husband through the state. She wants some extra money, so she takes a guy in, but she doesn't want to have sex with him. So he gives the guy the daughter. So that's actually very common. And these women are like, no, no, that couldn't possibly be. I'm like, no, it's actually very common.
Yeah.
Should go talk to. I said to them, you should go talk to some women who were raped as girls as young girls or teenage girls by the man that the mother moved into the house. Go talk to some of them. They'll tell you how common it is.
Yeah. The mother, well, the mother in some cases, of course, it's not straight across the board, but there are mothers out there that don't care. If that means keeping the guy and keeping the income, she'll pimp her daughter out to that guy real quick for that money, for that income.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's quite standard. It's quite standard. And can't talk about that. That's not something we should talk about. Right? We got to talk about some guy who was complaining to some woman that she had too many items in the express lane at a supermarket. That's what we got to talk about. Or we're going to talk about Orange Man Bad or something else like that. The whole Mueller uh, testimony this week was unbelievably bad. That guy looked like he had Alzheimer's.
Yep. Well, I just got word from from Heather, and it appears her mother and aunt saw the video I posted on Facebook, and they text her and told her that I had to put my 2 cents into it, and that she and I are hurting Heather's sister.
Uh, for you mean the strong, empowered, independent woman that is Heather's sister?
Yeah,
That
well,
one.
the juvenile one, the one that's still underage, we're hurting her.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, she can grow up. She needs to toughen up.
And I'm like, oh, we're hurting her. No, the real truth would be the mother and the aunt are hurting her by running their mouths all the time and feeding her fucking head full of shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like, how do you expect girls to grow up when all this stuff is happening in front of them? I mean, really. I mean, as I was talking earlier about my auntie who was 70, so my wife is committing all these crimes. Nobody says anything. Well, I've got two daughters, right?
Yeah,
So my wife commits a whole bunch of crimes. Their grandmothers, one grandmother's uh, has Alzheimer's, so it doesn't count. But her grandmother supports it. Her mother supports it. Oh, okay. Well, this must be okay around here.
yeah, that's okay
Uh,
behavior.
yeah, that's okay. Lying and stealing and being a horrible, nasty person, that must be okay because look around. I don't see anybody criticizing it. Must be okay.
Yeah, nobody's criticizing, so it's okay. So we could just keep right on doing it. It's no big
Yeah,
deal, right?
yeah. And it's just going to get worse and worse in each generation. And the young, like the nowadays in the hockey mask time thing, this Democratic politician, he just killed his wife when she said she wanted a divorce. They didn't have to get to court and have an argument, etc. She just said, "I want a divorce." He just bang killed her because he knows what's going to happen next. He doesn't have to wait and see what's going to happen. He already knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So more and more in these divorce cases, you're seeing when the woman says, "Okay, I want a divorce," the man's not waiting to have the lovely experience of the divorce courts visited on him. He just kills the wife and children. Says, "No, I'm done. That's the end of the divorce courts are going to ruin my life. That's the end of my life. I'm going to kill my wife and children, then kill myself."
Well, unfortunately, you're going to see more and more of that happen. She's going to file for divorce against him. He's going to have seen enough to know where he's headed. And maybe he's going to flip out and he's going to take her life, the kid's life, and his life. And you really can't blame anybody but society and all you idiots that are turning your head justifying this behavior. Because as long as you're not going to make women accountable and complicit you're going to be complicit with their evil behavior, then you're creating the situation that led to this to begin with.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I mean, I always come back to myself and say, if a guy like me who had such a impeccable character and had a past where I've done so much good for so many people and been so well regarded and so well respected in my community, my society. If a guy like me can be criminally abused year after year after year with nobody raising a whimper about it, the next guy, the next guy's going to look at that and go, I'm, you know, I'm, I'm not like that guy. I haven't done all the things that guy did. They're going to crucify me. That's what the next guys are saying.
Yeah.
They're gonna crucify me. They're gonna destroy my life. It's over. Okay, well, fine. And hockey mask time. There was a
Yeah.
good one today. There was a good one today. A guy who was disabled. These people were married for 50 years, right? Married for 50 years. The guy's disabled in a wheelchair, killed his wife, burned the house down, right? Burned the house down and then called the police. The police came over. He said, you go find my wife and blah, blah, blah. And then while the police were looking for the wife, he took a gun out and committed suicide,
And
shot
shot
himself.
himself, yeah. So now what they got is a bunch of dead bodies in a burnt down house because, well, he did what needed to be done.
Yeah. He said, okay, I'm going to take the trash out.
That's it, He actually became the garbage man and took out the trash.
Yeah, he took out
Okay?
the trash.
No, and the female was not some goddess. No, she was trash. She was garbage. She was a
Yeah.
product of today's society where we create psychopaths and narcissistic women. And
Yeah.
we just turn our head and we blame it all on the man. It's all
Yeah.
the
And
man.
this,
It's all the man.
yeah, this is a guy that's been married. They've been married 50 years. Like met as
That's a long
teenagers.
time, too.
Yeah. That's unbelievable, isn't it? They've been married 50 years, met as teenagers, and he still killed her and burned the house down. You know, this is where we're at. Men are so angry that they're going to do this sort of thing,
Well,
and it's not going to get any better.
I can't blame men for being angry. And I will not blame men for being angry. You know, when I look at TFL and Incel, I tell these guys, you actually don't know how lucky you are not to have a woman in your life.
Oh yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
I understand your frustration of being ostracized and pushed out and isolated because the woman don't want to give you the time of day in 1 to 5 seconds. And, in a world that's over sexualized, I understand how that hurts you and how frustrated you are, but I also understand if you get a woman in your life, you're gonna wish like hell you didn't.
oh yeah. You want to know a really funny thing? I was talking to this woman. This is somebody involved in something else, and so she says, "Oh, I've got this." She knows I'm single, right? Because I've got this event coming up. Would you like to come? I said, what event? And it's event, relationships and how to have great relationships, etc. Right? And and I just sent a message back to her saying, I really don't think you want me at your event. She says, well, why not? I said, well, you don't know my history, but let's just say that you don't want somebody who has my history with divorce and with women at an event about relationships
Oh
because
well,
I'm likely
yeah.
to,
If
I'm
it's
likely to open my mouth and tell the truth.
well, that's just it. If you walked into an event in today's society about relationships, you're gonna hear lie after lie after lie, placing the female in the goddess status, and then somebody like me or Peter, we wouldn't be able to tolerate it. We would open our mouth and screw it all up for them with truth.
Yeah, yeah. So she doesn't know much about my history, right? So they're like, no, I really don't think you want me at your event. So it was hysterical. But how many women have I said to you? Women need to demonstrate what you mean when you say we want to be equal. You need to actually show us now. You've talked about it. You've got it. You've got the vote. You got equal rights. You're getting paid more money for less work. You need to show us what you mean by equal. And while you
Yeah.
don't show us what you mean by equal, we're going to assume that you're a bunch of liars and hypocrites. Did you see the Wimbledon final? Did you see the women's and men's Wimbledon finals at all?
No, I didn't.
So the women's final took 52 minutes, right?
Okay.
6-2, 6-2, 52 minutes, right? The men's final took 5.5 hours, and it was 12 all in the fifth set, and they had to have a tiebreaker because about 10 years ago, Roger Federer was in the fifth set. They got to like 15-13 in the fifth set. So they introduced a new rule that in the fifth set, when you get to 12 all, you have a tiebreaker. So they played for, I think it was 5.5 hours, got to 12 all in the fifth set, and had to have a tiebreaker. Oh, yeah, but they get equal prize money because equality, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Equality, yeah.
And can you imagine? I couldn't, it wasn't on the TV here, but could you imagine how many people around the world were watching that? I was listening to it on radio and just following on the scores, and it sounded epic. And I really would like to watch the highlights. But 12 all in the fifth, and then needing a tiebreaker. The last time when Federer was in this one with Roderick back in, I think it was 2010, it was amazing. It was epic. And you just couldn't believe that they were playing at that level after so long. But this one was another epic, right? It's another, and it can't go any longer anymore. They introduced a new rule to say 12 all in the fifth set. So, yeah, the women's final, done and dusted, 52 minutes, 6-2, 6-2. Men's final, 12 all in the fifth set, 5 hours, 5.5 hours of play, in which time, you could play lots more advertising and get lots more advertising revenue, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, but equal money because it's equal pay for equal work.
Yeah,
Right?
there you go. So the men could be there for 5 hours, the women could be there for less than an hour and get equal pay, huh?
And get equal pay, yeah, because equality, right?
Oh yeah, that's equality, my ass.
that's equality, and no women. And Serena Williams was the loser in the women's final. Can't remember the winner was Halpet or something, but it was like 6-2, 6-2. It's not a very interesting game of tennis, right? And Serena Williams is one of the women who's most vocal about, oh, well, we need to make sure that women get equal pay in everything. Yeah, well, how about per hour? How about you get paid per hour on the court, right?
Yeah.
Let's have
Well,
pay per
yeah.
hour for tennis players.
Let's do pay per hour because that way, when you only paid for 52 minutes, you got paid 1 hour. Why should
Yeah,
you be getting 5 hours worth of pay when you only did an hour?
yeah, that's right. And all my own view is that they shouldn't have sex segregated sports when there's prize money up for grabs
Well,
because
I would agree with
prize
that for this reason. They always said they were equal to men in equality, right?
yeah.
So therefore, I think they should be playing against men with men at the same time, the same amount of hours. However, the cookie falls is how it falls. You wanted
Yeah.
your equality, so there it is.
Well, in the workplace, every Western country has legislation which says it's illegal to discriminate based on gender in the workplace. They've all got that, right?
Yes,
And when it's a sport where there's prize money to be had, that's the workplace, right?
that
That's
would
your
be the
place.
workplace. Yeah, that's your
That's
place of employment.
that's your place of work. If there's prize money, that's your place of work. And I would argue that the legislation should make it illegal to have sex segregation in sports because that's a workplace. You're not allowed to have sex segregation anywhere else in the workplace. Can't have it in sports either.
No,
Oh, but the women. Oh, no, no, no. We want sex segregation in the sports because equality, and you get this crazy women's soccer team in the U.S. women's soccer team, right?
yeah,
The ones that stomped on the flag and said they wouldn't want to go to the White House if they won, etc. Those women saying that they should get equal pay. Yeah, well, how about you actually play against the men, and then accept the pay that you get against the men. See how you go with that, right?
yeah. I think that would be fair. I mean, after all, I got nothing against being equal between men and women, but what they're wanting to call equal between men and women isn't equal at all.
No.
So as long as you want to play bias and play into this bullshit that you're spilling, then I think you should get what you got. So if these guys went 5 hours, they're paid the 5 hours, and you women are paid fucking just what you done or 1 hour. Tough shit. Don't like it. Then maybe next time you better play 5 hours just as hard, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Next time maybe you have to play a decent game of tennis. Yeah. So from the men's final, clearly Federer. Well, I mean Federer had to beat Nadal to get there, right? So because Federer is like number 3 or 4 now in the world, right? So
Yeah.
Federer had to now, like he's 34 or 35. I mean, God knows how the man can play tennis this well at this age, right? But Federer had to beat Nadal to get to play Djokovic, and It was a must have been a great game. I mean, I wish it had been on the TV, but you know, it's just staggering that the women can say, "Well, we should get paid the same amount," but we don't want to play against them, right?
No,
And there were,
that's just it, Peter. In reality, if society was doing things properly from the very get go, women can be just as strong as men because that's already been proven. But because women are pampered from the time they're a child on up, they'll never be as strong as men. And then when you're going to play all these double standards and all this and all that, if I was to have control of society, first off, the women would be out there working every bit as much as hard as the men are, and there would be no segregation because of your gender. And women would be a lot stronger and physical, just like men are. But at the same token, they would be earning their way just like men are because there wouldn't be all these double standards and favoritism and blah, blah, blah. But then I would be a woman hater to say that, wouldn't
yeah, yeah, you obviously hate all women if you think they should get out and work like the men.
I?
Well, literally, if women for 150 years have said they wanted equality, and when you say to them, okay, now show us what you mean by this, you said it for 150 years, you've got all the goodies of equality, none of the bad things of equality. Show us what you mean.
Yeah,
I'm
they
50.
don't want to show you that, Peter, because then when they got through showing you it, you would realize it was all lined for them and all the bad things the guy had to go through, they don't want anything to do with.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm 55, right? Since I was 5 years old and went to school, I got told, the girls are just as good as the boys, except you can't hit the girls, right?
Yes.
And it's like, no. If you tell me I can't hit a girl, she's obviously inferior to me, right?
Yep.
So for 50 years, and since I started at school, I've had people telling me girls and boys are equal, and then men and women are equal. We're all equal around here.
But
It's
boys are
like,
not allowed to hit a girl.
and I'm like, okay, well, show me what you mean by equal.
Yeah.
And I've been at this 50 years, and I haven't seen a woman show me what she means by equal yet.
Don't hold your breath, Peter. I would
Yeah,
might have to give you some painkiller for the headache you're going to get from waking up
yeah,
from
yeah.
holding your breath
I'm
too
going
long.
to. I shall be going to my grave without any woman ever demonstrating to me what equality was.
That's about it, too. You're not going to ever get to see that ever. And,
No.
the reality is as simple as what it is. We have designed what we got. We spent all these years telling boys they cannot hit girls when it should have been taught that nobody hits nobody and no gender should have ever been brought into it. But you had to make sure you're bringing gender into it and discriminate against the boy since he was a child and watch the girl watch the television set the daughter men are vile and evil and this and that and that. And then you wonder why we got the behavior we got, huh?
Mm, yep.
It's just
And it's
insanity how people can't see what's so in their face.
yeah. And it's not going away anytime soon. That's why, I support Islam and Sharia now. And so the only way you're going to solve this problem is putting women in burqas and putting them back in the home, and converting Western countries to Islam and Sharia, and then things will get a little better. But apart from that, things not going to get any better because
Unfortunately, I have to agree with you. As sad as that is, I would love to see the genders brought back together and things be equal. But nobody wants equal. Everybody wants to be above somebody else. And all of you simps and pussies want to keep placing that woman above your own self, creating the
yep,
problem that you're bitching about right now.
yep. There's plenty of simps and manginas out there who will put women on pedestals, and the women will lap it up, and the government will pander to them, and all that stuff will continue to happen. So because there's no, like, I've been at this 12 years, there's nobody, absolutely nobody, who's interested in saying, well, maybe we need to do something about this. There's nobody. And so the only guys who are going to do something about this are the Muslim guys who are going to say, yeah, we think Islam and Sharia is really good and we'll impose it by blowing people up. we'll blow you up with our bomb of love and run you over with our truck of peace, right?
Well, there you go, by God. You know, and at least it might be real instead of phony like here in the States. Here in the
Yeah,
States, when you have a drive-by in Canada or in a Western country, it's most likely a theme exercise drill that never happened and nobody really died. But we're going to tell the world they really died and we're going to blame it on an incel guy.
yeah. There's so many of those false flags, and you just can't see, you can't tell the difference between a real one and a false flag anymore. And mostly, I just assume that they're all false flags now. I just
Well,
pretty much,
nowadays
yeah,
you pretty much had to go there because when I looked at the list of everything they got, all these phony baloney team exercise drills from the school shootings to the run me overs to the actor Elliot Rogers, okay, Hollywood actors. When I look at all that and I look at the list of names they're giving, I notice two names are missing, Peter, and that would be Anthony Powell and George Sedini. Could that be because that really happened?
those guys actually did something. George,
Exactly.
who was the guy in Canada? There was a guy in Canada.
That was another stage show military exercise drill. And he
No,
was,
the first guy. There was a guy years ago, like 25 years ago in Canada.
oh,
Before,
okay. Yeah. No, that one was probably real. That's why it's not on the list.
yeah, but George Sedini was there was that guy. I'll remember his name in a minute. But then George Sedini and a few others. And then you had the Anders Breivik. You had the Andreas Lubitz. Notice, nobody knows who Andreas Lubitz is, right?
Yeah.
If you if people are talking about mass murderers or mass killers, etc., and you throw out the name Andreas Lubitz, do you know Andreas Lubitz? Most people go, "No, I never heard of him. What did he do?" He's like, "Yeah, he flew a plane with 150 people into the side of a mountain 1 week after he was told he was going to get screwed over in the divorce courts in Germany." But that's probably got nothing to do with it, right? So
uh,
in terms of mass murder, mass killings, Andreas Lubitz is currently king of the mountain, right?
well,
Nobody
yeah.
else nobody else has killed as an individual. Nobody else has killed 150 people in one go, 149 plus himself, right?
Yeah.
That's twice as many as Breivik, but nobody knows his name. Everybody in the world knows Anders Breivik, right?
You know what the
But
problem is, Peter? It was only 150. If you wanted to
yeah,
know his name, he had to be like a Rothschild and kill millions.
yeah,
Then you'd be a
yeah.
star, you'd be famous, and you wouldn't be in jail.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, you'd be running a bank
if you kill
instead.
millions of people, you can run a bank and run a nation.
Yeah, yeah, you could run for president on that.
Yeah, you sure could. Well, boy, if you only killed 150, I'm sorry. I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
that's pretty slack, right?
yeah, that's slack.
But
It
but
don't count, right?
yeah, but Andreas Lubitz, yeah, 150, currently the biggest individual mass killer uh, of in the men's area, probably of all time, with for killing people with in one event with no help, probably the biggest individual mass killer of all time, and nobody knows his name
Yeah.
because they don't want to know his name because his motivation for doing it is absolutely crystal clear. His girlfriend was going to have a baby, and dumped him, and she was going to screw him over for the next 25 years or more in the German divorce courts.
Yeah, but she's going to keep his kid from him,
Yeah.
take his money from him, use that child as a power play against him, and destroy his life.
Yep. That's right.
And so he settled the score.
So he decided, okay, well, I'll show people how I feel about that, and flew a plane into the side of the mountain. Now that too might have been a false flag, I don't know, but looked pretty convincing to me. The wreckage, there was actually wreckage of that plane, unlike all the 9/11 wreckage.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, I mean, my favorite 9/11 one was the Pentagon and the one out in the field. because it was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first plane that ever made a big hole in the ground and left no wreckage.
yeah. There was no engines. There was no tail section. There was
No,
nothing. Just a hole in
nothing.
the ground.
And the Pentagon, you had a hole in the wall that didn't match the size of the wings, and there
Yeah,
was no
yeah,
wreckage. It all
yeah,
disintegrated and blew away in the air.
yeah. Just disintegrated. But in the Andreas Lubitz case, there was actually big pieces of aeroplane and bodies lying around.
Which suggests that it might have actually happened, right?
Might have actually happened, that one. But this is what's going on. Men are just like, okay, I'm screwed. I'm really gonna vent my anger. And the last thing you want is to make a high IQ white man angry, because the high IQ white men are the ones who do the most damage
Well,
when they get angry.
Peter, the way I look at it is this: we can identify real men in today's society because real men are the ones that'll stand up to the female and not bend over and get out the loop.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, that's how you identify a real man. And unfortunately, I think I could probably fit them all in my place right here of real men because
there's not
there's
there's
just
not
not
many.
many real men left.
Yeah. Oh yes, sweetie. No, sweetie. 3 bags full, sweetie. Yeah, yeah.
And I know I
But
piss a lot of MGTOWers off with that BS, but it's true, you know, because unfortunately, the majority, and I hate to say it, of MGTOWers are most likely TFLers in denial. Okay, you have a
yeah,
few. If I was going to say a real MGTOWer, Peter Nolan has the right to call himself MGTOW. He is 100% real. Okay, he's not fraudulent. He's not pretending. Okay, we don't have very many real MGTOWers online. You have a whole bunch of fraudulent MGTOWers online. You don't have a bunch of real ones. I mean, I can honestly look at Peter and know that I'm seeing a real man going his own way.
yeah. I've got about as far as my own way as I can, right? Leaving the West and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
at least you won't be lying saying you are.
mm,
Where the majority of these so-called men going their own way are GFLers in denial, or they're just simply not going their own way at all. They're still going out there playing the games, chipping the hoops, and hoping to meet another. Well, I don't know why you're hoping for it, because the results are going to be the same as the last one.
yeah. I mean, you were making a good point earlier, where you're saying that you're just so much happier not having a woman in the house. Most guys are so much happier not having a woman in the house. I was with Jennifer for more than 20 years, and now I have a nice apartment. It's all the rest of it. It's like, oh, it's so nice not to have to worry about the wife or the kids around the house. It's just so nice,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Well, the thing is, and it's not even the kids. I feel sorry for the kids because the kids are in a society that's corrupting them from the time they're children. Okay? Brainwashing them and corrupting them. The kids are the actual victims. The adults ain't the victims. They're just fucking children that failed to grow up. The epic failure of mankind, your ability to grow the hell up. You
Mm,
know, I've said this and I'm going to say it again, man. What's missing from our world, the most important thing of all, is called care.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, care is the real crook of the problem because we only care about number one. And of course, that's why we're in the shape we're in. When we could start caring about everybody equally as our own selves, then we would be doing right onto each other instead of wrong onto each other, and the world could become a better place. But because we're not going to go there, well, you see what you wanted.
yeah. You're going to get you get the results you get from the lack of care and lack of concern about other people, right?
Exactly.
There
I
is a
got nothing against laws or like what Peter talked about the courtroom. The problem is you don't have care at all.
Yeah. No one cares.
Yep.
It's like that. I mean, the Bible repeats the line, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you," and that's not bad advice.
No, it
But
isn't.
that's not what people are doing. People are saying, "Yeah, well, I can get away with this, so I will," and that's fine. You can get away with it for a while, and after a while, it's going to come back and bite you on the bum.
One day it will catch up to you. And
Well, that
yeah, and most people, they hate their medicine that they dish. They hate
yeah,
it with a passion. Matter of fact, they're ready to go to blows. They're ready
yeah.
to attack you and try to beat you up because you done onto them what they done onto you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean the time for paying up is it's well. I think we can safely say it's arrived in France and Sweden.
Oh yeah,
I think
our
I think we
last.
can I think we can now safely say that Swedish women are getting their just desserts for
Yep.
their many years of criminally abusing the men in the divorce courts. And I think we can safely say that of France. And I think we can safely say that it's not far away in Germany or the UK.
No, it's right on top of it right away, and I
Mm.
see it just getting bigger. I mean, our last commenter here said the U.S. has only killed 48 million people since the Second War. Well, yeah, only killed 48 million people since World War II, but we don't care, right? Isn't that what it
Yeah.
comes down to?
Yeah. Yeah. Election interference by the Russians is really bad. Election interference by the Americans is really good.
Well, that's all a sham, anyhow. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
why, because the reality is you've never had two sides. That's the
Yeah.
illusion. That's your
Yeah.
mirage.
Yeah.
Okay? And your leaders are picked for you by criminals who pick criminals. So, I mean, I guess we could put Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, and John Wayne Gacy up for election this year. And you could pick between them three. Why not?
Yeah. It wouldn't be any worse.
Exactly.
Wouldn't be any worse.
And then the people keep falling for the lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over and over and over. You fall right down the hole for the lie. I mean, our last election with Trump and Hillary, that was one of the biggest fiascos I ever seen. You have cousin and cousin running against each other in a Hollywood stage show. Most people didn't even know that Hillary and Trump are cousins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, they had no idea that they're cousins, and
Yeah.
and so here you are thinking you're picking the better, and you fell for the psyop that Russia it was interfering when Russia wasn't. Okay,
Yeah.
because whatever your television set tells you must be correct, right?
That's how to know that something's false. If it's on CNN, it's 100% garbage. It's
Anymore, Peter, if it's on ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC,
mm,
MSNBC, it's complete garbage. And if it's on alternative media, it's still complete garbage because the same people who own and run them all through the military industrial complex, if you just look it up, just type it in one time military industrial complex. Then I want you to type in military media industrial complex. And by golly, see what you don't find. You'll find out that
yeah.
the military's running all forms of media for the people at the top who own all forms of media. Why do you
Yeah.
think they
Yeah.
got their hands on YouTube? Because
Yeah.
YouTube was originally the unforeseen media. And when they realized how big YouTube was, they had they had to make sure that these guys couldn't own it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. They bought it fairly early in the piece. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Well, they
But yeah,
forced, but it was forced at that. Because they were
yeah. Yeah.
forced into court, basically, you might as well say gunpoint, even though it literally wasn't a gun. They were forced into court, subpoenaed into court, and forced to sell. It's just like towns that big developer comes in, like in my hometown, ADM came in. ADM has been there for years. Clinton Corn was the original name, and ADM bought them out. Well,
Mm,
ADM's big corporate. Okay, government, corporate, me, okay? They decided to expand. So they go into whole neighborhoods and tell people, we're buying your house. And you say, no, my house isn't for sale. Yeah, it is. Whether you like it or not, it's for sale, and we're going to offer you this much, and you either take it or we'll give you less as we take it from you.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what they done. They bought out entire neighborhoods, came in with the bulldozers, leveled every single house, scraped it all up, and built more buildings onto their ADM manufacturer because you're free.
Land of the free, home of the brave.
There you go. Actually,
Yeah,
it's the land of the enslaved and home of the cowards.
pretty much, pretty much. So no, I don't see it getting any better anytime soon.
No. And we're right at the 2 hour mark, 2 hours and 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So I think we'll get out of here, Peter, for this week. And hey,
Okay.
definitely
Well, it's been
appreciate you being
great
here.
chatting with you. I hope I really enjoyed doing these. Let's do it again in a week or two. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, we'll be back again. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But, you'll see Peter and I again unless one of us kick the bucket, but you always see us.
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I'm getting my exercise. I've lost some weight, so hopefully I'll be around for a little while longer yet.
Oh,
I
yes.
got to work long enough to pay off my debts.
There you go. If not, just leave them for the government.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much for the show, Bill. Really appreciate it, and thank you for the
Yes.
guys who came in and watched and will watch in the future. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
And with that, we'll see you later.